Michael. Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. Gig, that's a wonderful name. Are you any relationship to Gig Young?
Obviously not, right?
No, but I mean, it's a wonderful. Is it short for Gregory?
No, it is not. I'm actually Thai, so we all have like
I
these.
don't mean to be. I'm totally ignorant of a lot of culture and cultural names and stuff like that. But I just love Gig because you're the third one I've known in my life. There was Gig Young, there's you, and there was a friend of mine he was basically, I think, Belgium, and it was a bastardization of Gregory.
Oh, really?
He was Dutch and Belgium. He was from Belgium and he was Dutch and Belgium and Holland, his two parents. And so everyone just called him Giggy, Gig. Hey Gig,
Hmm.
how you doing? You know, and
It's the same.
so
It's the same for me. But for my culture, we have long first names. So
uh,
typically they just give us like one syllable nicknames for
well,
Thai people.
there we go. My name is Frederick Reginald Luther Ironside. They called me Mike.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even find out until I was 5 or 6 years old that my name was Frederick Reginald Luther. I remember writing Mike on a piece of paper and showed my mom and my aunt on the kitchen table, and they said, "Well," they all looked at each other and said, "Well, should we tell them?" And I remember them when they put the F and the R and the E and the D down, and I looked at it and I had struggled to learn how to write Mike. And I remember going, "Oh, it's so ugly," Fred, what's Fred? You know, and they also told me that knife was spelled with a K.
Hmm.
And I remember laying on the floor screaming, I can't do this. I just can't do this. I was like 5 or 6 years old. But yeah, then nobody in my family was called by their real names. They all had nicknames that had no relationship to our real names.
Well, and here we are.
I'm sorry. I mean, I just went on a diatribe there. I apologize.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, Michael, let me say congratulations on another film under your belt, Confession.
Well, thank you very much.
So tell us what drew you into this film.
Oh, absolutely the subject matter. John Keys, one of the producers, sent me the script. John's a wonderful independent producer. We've worked together a few times over the years. And he said, you may enjoy this because we have similar kind of social positions on subject matter and stuff.
Mhm.
And I read it, and the idea of dealing with, and not to blow it out of the water, it deals with date rape, unconsensual sex, forced sex. And this is a subject matter that we don't always talk about, and it's not very commonly talked about, and openly talked about in society.
Mhm.
Uh, and not to give the audience the wrong impression, this is not some pound on the pulpit diatribe on the evils of sex and blah blah blah. No, it's a very entertaining film. It has a lot of duplicity in it, murder mystery, some other things, but the underlying theme really is that this is a subject matter we have to start talking about, and not just men on women, but the whole idea of non-consensual sex and forced sex on people.
Mhm.
It's and the damage that it causes.
Absolutely.
Because it reverberates through a whole family and a whole generation.
Yeah, it is a very important topic, and in this case, you are playing a cop or a detective,
Hmm.
and I feel like after nearly 300 films for yourself, you played cops and detectives before. So, how do you keep a role like this interesting for yourself? I mean,
Well,
you
it's in the
want it to be,
writing.
yeah.
It's in the writing. This character, for example, I mean, we've talked about. It's a very engaging story. I find it very entertaining and stuff. Not because of the subject matter, because it's very well written and it's very well acted by some. It's very competent acting in this. Excuse me. And I play a character, Detective Miller, who's near the end of his career. And he's forced by a very good looking young, who I think is politically aggressive, kind of assistant DA, played by Clark Bacco. And she comes to me saying she wants me to take this case back down off the shelf and have a look at it after 2 or 3 years. I don't trust her. I think she's politically motivated. And the arc of my character, who starts off going, "Why are we doing this?" to a point in the film where he realizes he may have misread situations, may have missed some evidence. To be, at the end of the film, becomes the champion and somebody who's fighting for that subject matter, who basically comes out and is very supportive and realizes that he has a lot to learn. And that character, even though that's not what the film's about, that underlying subtext is what we want the audience to get. This is a subject matter that, for a lot of reasons, just isn't mainstream, and it needs to be talked about. And I know it's very front page news a lot of times these days, about different things that, women's rights and stuff. But we shot this 2.5 years ago. We shot this way back at the beginning of COVID. It didn't get a chance to come out. And the subject matter, granted, made a lot of people who wanted to distribute it a little tentative on how to package it. How do we sell this? And, we got a film about rape. Do you want to see it? Ooh, But, very well directed by Dana Hansen, wonderful director. And the actors, I have to tell you, we're not there for the money. We're there because of the subject matter. Matthew Tompkins, for example, comes up. He's a lead in his own films by right. He does these different projects and stuff. And he came up to give us half a day playing a very, very stiff, angry detective who wants to vilify the victim for being a victim. Why were you dressed like this with your body all hanging out and everything like that? What do you expect? And stuff like that. And I get to intercede and say, I'll take this one, and he gets really angry about it.
Yeah.
Sexuality is something that I think that, though we all, hopefully all of us in one way or another get the opportunity to partake in it, of our own choice and stuff. But it's a subject matter that's very private, and it's hard to talk in the general terms about it. But this film tries to make very specific that when somebody says no, and when something is forced on somebody, that is not right. It is not legal, and it causes a lot of damage, not just to that person, but generationally and to everyone around them.
Well said, Michael. Well said. Well, hey, thank you very much for conversing us
I
about.
apologize. I didn't mean to get on a bully pulpit there.
No.
This is a good film. It's entertaining. It really is entertaining. It doesn't sort of like stick your face in the subject matter, pardon the expression, and make you sort of roll around in it. It really does. It's got some. Sarah Hayes plays this incredible performance. Clark Backo plays the assistant DA. Sterling Bowman, he plays our bad guy, and he doesn't pass any comment on it. He's a very sweet man, a young man who's, has a really good career going. He took the gamble of playing this very insipid, horrible, very wealthy young man who just thinks his shit doesn't stink and just, and basically has his own way. And it's a marvelous, marvelous performance,
Yeah, it's a great thriller, and it's a ending that a lot of people will be surprised with, and that's for sure.
It's a pretty good roller coaster ride.
Most excellent. Well, Michael, thank you very much for this conversation. I wish I had more time. I would love to talk to you about almost all 300 movies of yours. But
actually, it's around 340, but who's counting? So
that is true. Next time.
All right, take care.
I'm glad to be the third gig in your life.
All right, thank you. Third gig.
That's right. Thank you.